Witamy serdecznie. Z tej strony Sangfor, Joanna Sławek, Marketing Manager. Hi, tak, dokładnie. Wiemy, że nasi goście są z Polski, więc pozwolę sobie mówić po polsku o sprawach organizacyjnych. Proszę najpierw mi powiedzieć, czy mnie dobrze słychać i widać. Super, dziękuję Pani Jacku. Więc ja ze swojej strony powiem tylko, że wydarzenie jest nagrywane. Spotykamy się i zajmie nam to około 1,5 godziny. Będziemy rozmawiać z producentem Sangfor. W zasadzie przedstawiciele Sangfor będą Państwu prezentować rozwiązanie, jakie oferują. Co jeszcze? Jeżeli będą Państwo mieli jakieś pytania, to bardzo proszę kierować się w języku angielskim tutaj na czacie. I w trakcie wydarzenia będą 2 przerwy na ankietę. I wtedy odpowiedzą Państwo na kilka pytań. Pytania w pierwszym rzucie będą zamknięte, w drugim pytania będą też zamknięte, ale z wielokrotnym wyborem. Jeszcze to będę przypominać oczywiście przed samym testem. No i producent oferuje, że będzie tutaj jakaś dla Państwa niespodzianka rzeczowa, więc zachęcamy do po prostu aktywnego brania udziału w tej ankiecie. Myślę, że możemy zaczynać, jeżeli wszystko jest ok. Bardzo proszę zgłaszać wszelkie nieprawidłowości tutaj na czacie, będziemy reagować na bieżąco. I ja oddaję głos już Tomaszowi Ginałowi, naszemu specjaliście do spraw Sangfor w Stovaris.
Dzień dobry, witam wszystkich również ze swojej strony. Tylko tytułem zachęcenia do uważnego słuchania naszego dzisiejszego webinaru i dla zachęcenia do zwrócenia uwagi na korzyści, które z tego rozwiązania płyną, chciałbym wymienić takie 3 według mnie najważniejsze aspekty, dla których uważamy, że rozwiązanie Sangfor jest alternatywą, dobrą alternatywą dla rozwiązań, które są obecne na rynku. Pierwsze to, że jest to rozwiązanie bezpieczne, które oferuje dodatkowe funkcje. Po drugie, że kwestie migracji są bardzo łatwe w realizacji i są intuicyjne. To nie jest tak jak, nie wiem, przesiadka z samochodu z kierownicą z lewej strony na prawą stronę i jeszcze ze skrzyni biegów ręcznej na automatyczną i tak dalej, i tak dalej. To po prostu wszyscy, którzy znają rozwiązania obecne na rynku, mówią, że z rozwiązaniem Sangfor jest po prostu bardzo łatwo się, jak to można by było powiedzieć, ogarnąć i zorientować, jak to wygląda. A po trzecie, że jest to rozwiązanie efektywne kosztowo ze względu na sposób licencjonowania oraz na dodatkowe wbudowane funkcje chociażby typu backup, które są w cenie rozwiązania. Tak więc tytułem takiego jakby naświetlenia według mnie podstawowych cech tego rozwiązania, bezpieczeństwo, łatwa migracja i efektywność kosztowa, zostawiam Państwa z producentem, z przedstawicielami producenta i oddaję im głos.
Thank you, Thomas, for introduction. Yes, okay. So, thanks everyone. Yeah. Today I'm going to introduce about it, Sangfor, yeah, our solution and our company. And first of all, very glad to be here and share you about this session. Yeah, and thanks for Stovaris team to invite to help us to have this session as well. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Tax One, yeah, a channel sales manager, yeah, in Poland, right? So I'm taking the response for Poland market, okay. So this is our today, topic and our agenda, right? So for myself, I will giving a presentation to introduce about the Sangfor overview and some highlights of our products, and then later on my colleague Felix will give the VMware Alternative solution introduction and some other details. Yeah, then we will have a Q&A session, and we prepared some gift, few gift there. And after that, I would like to introduce about our security solution overview. So since our today topic is regarding the virtualization part, right? So for the security part, we will have a very fast, introduction, and then my colleague Felix will give you a HCI demo, right? And after that, we will have a Q&A session. So this is our today agenda. And our topic is going to, you can see, is going to introduce about our virtualization HCI solutions. As everyone knows, VMware did many changes in the market, no matter it's a product, it's a licensing part, partner, strategy part. So the market are feeling very pain. From these kind of changes. So our virtualization and our HCI solution, it's a very good choice, to replace, to be a VMware alternative, solution, right? So this is our topic. Before I start our company introduction, I would like to share some highlights about our products, right? So for our HCI solution, first of all, it is very easy to be installed. For the installation part, you just need to install one ISO file. Just the same with you install your Windows system in your laptop. One stop, you will have all the function available, right? So you can see if you compare with some other vendor, Sangfor, maybe the installation time, it require 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And compare other vendors like 30 minutes, 1 hour. We are very fast. And the cost, cost effective, and also for the migration, we are very smoothly. We can we can support one-click migration, and Sangfor solution is designed for network, based on network security as well as for the data security as well, right? And we are one-stop solution. The very important thing is that we don't need to go with third party. Then we can have a built-in backup features, which are free, and also advanced backup features. We call it CDP, and also building DR solutions, right? And also it's on-premise side solution, so you don't need to worry about the solution is GDPR compliant. So this is some highlights about our solution, and here are some achievement of our Sangfor. So you can see this in Sangfor whole company, right? We got those products which are listed in top 1 or top 3 in China market. And previously or currently, we listed in Gartner Magical Quadrant. Those products are there, and you can see the HCI product are there, right? And also, we are the top 5 largest HCIS vendor in worldwide, right, for 2024. So you can see, right now we are new in Poland market, but Sangfor is not new in in the global market, right? So there are some achievement. Okay, so there is some highlights sharing about our company, and then let me just introduce Sangfor. Okay, let's do it in fast way. Okay. So Sangfor, we established from 2000, and right now we got 25 years history already, and right now we have more than 7,000 employees. We have more than 7,000 employees. And Sangfor, our company, our target is going to, we are trying to make our customers' digital transformation much simpler and secure, right? So during later, we will introduce more about our products and some demo as well, right? So you will find how simple it is and how we provide the secure functions to our customers. Here are some pictures about, for example, our headquarter building in Shenzhen, right? So this is Sangfor. We have our own whole building in Shenzhen, and here are some our Europe team visit our headquarter, and some our partner event which happened in Italy, in Europe, And to talk about the business, right? Sangfor, we mainly provide three kind of business. Okay, the first one is about the cybersecurity part, and the second one is the Sangfor cloud computing part. Which we are focusing on this part as well, right? And Sangfor, we also cooperate with our partner, which located in Germany, and this partner is providing the MDR services, managed detection and response services. As we know, many customers, they care about the security, but to build up their own security system, it will cost a lot of devices and peoples. So it's difficult for them. So we can provide the security services to helping them managing the business, managing the network, help them out. Okay, so globally, Sangfor got 70 plus global offices. And to talking about Europe, right? So Europe, we got right now we got 2 offices, available. The first one is Italy. We have established it from 2018. We have established it from 2018. And from this year, the Germany, after 1 year cooking, our Germany office is established as well from this year. And right now, we are cooking the Poland market. Hopefully next year, we will have our office available in Poland as well, right? So our Europe, the first office is Italy, right? From 2018. And after seven years, our Italy, we got more than 25 team members, and for whole Italy region, we have more than 400 customers. So you can see many of them, they covered almost all the Italy region, and many of them, is doing such as cloud computing, cloud services provider, and IT integrator, this kind of things. And with them help, we have more than 6,000 customers. So many from there are many from ISP customers, CSP, MSP, as well as some enterprise SME customers as well, right? So our Germany office, established from this year, and here is some global picture. And for our Germany local, we got already authorized partners who can support for the deliver services and the technical support. And we got a local Sangfor team, and we have the Europe call center available, as well, right? So why we choose Sangfor, or why Sangfor is a good choice for you, right? So first of all, this is our product and our solution. So 2 parts. The first part is about our cybersecurity, right? We have a network part, like a firewall, IAG, the SWG solutions, endpoint part, the network security, and the XDR solution available. Even we can provide customer security services, which are available there. And for the compute part, our HCI is available, which is similar with VMware, with Nutanix. Our VDI solution is available, which is similar with Citrix, as well as some cloud features available as well, right? So for the solution part, yeah, except the network switches, APs, you can see Sangfor almost provide all the solutions. Yeah, and as a summary, yeah, we listed our products here. Yeah, for cloud computing, HCI available, VDI available, and unified enterprise storages, yeah, is available in Europe market. For network security part, firewall, SWG, SASE solution, endpoint security, XDR, yeah, and also our security services is available, MDR services. Yeah. So of course, as our partner or our customer, right, the support is a very important thing to be understand. Yeah. So Sangfor provide you different level support. So from our local, no matter it's in Poland or not in Poland, yeah, we have our local local partners, authorized partners, and we got our local colleagues, and the Sangfor call center is always available. Yeah, so you can see with our local partner, our local colleague, and our call center. Yeah, so customer can always find support when they face an issue. Okay, and then let me share some of the industry recognition and reference. Yeah, so here are some feedback. Yeah, or you can see some report regarding from the Gartner, right? So those products include HCI are listed in the Sangfor Magical Quadrant. Yeah, and with different products, we got different achievement reported by Gartner. And here are some the real feedback, yeah, which we got it from the Gartner website. For Sangfor firewall, yeah, for Sangfor firewall, so you can see we are listed in the visionary scenarios, yeah, visionary scenarios. And for ecosystem and for our international, cooperation, yeah. So some important thing I have to highlight here is that we have officially cooperated with Veeam as well as the Veritas. So so to replace or to to provide customer virtualization platform, the backup part, yeah, Sangfor can have our building feature. Yeah, if customer need more advanced, yeah, of course they can go with Veeam or Veritas or some other vendors as well, like Vinci. Okay, so we have more than 100,000 customers all over the world, and there it covers different industry like SME, FSI, and the globals. Government, university, hospitals, ISP, CSP, this kind of vendors, right? So there are some logo list, just case reference. Yeah, for Fortune Global 500 customers. Yeah, and here are some reference regarding Europe customers, right? So this all about Sangfor company introduction. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can just leave the message in the chat. Yeah, and right now let me pass to my colleague Felix. Yes, Felix, your turn.
And yeah, thanks everyone to join this webinar today. And this is Felix from Sangfor European. And today I would like to share the Sangfor technology in terms of the virtualization stack. Actually, we all know that the VMware, the Broadcom acquired the VMware, and a lot of partner and customer suffer a lot in terms of the price increase, right? So right now, actually, Sangfor would like to create more value to all of you guys. And actually, we all know that VMware have a lot of components, right? The vSphere, NSS vCenter, the container, right? The container, we call it Tenju, ESSi, vCenter, something like that. And from Sangfor perspective, we have the apple-to-apple portfolio to compare with the VMware. For example, the vSphere the NSS. This is the network virtualization, right? Sangfor also have the software-defined network and software-defined storage to compare with the VMware vSAN or the NSS. And the container as well. For example, we have the SKE to manage the Kubernetes. So that's why we have the confidence to replace the VMware and provide more portfolio or value to our partner and customer. And secondly, currently the key proposition of the Sangfor virtualization stack, I think we have 4 points, right? First of all is the seamless migration, because usually a lot of partner and customer, they are using the VMware, and then a lot of workload, it is deployed on VMware. So that's why we need to do the migration job, right? So of course we can migrate the workload comes from the VMware. And secondly, of course, partner and customer, they're using the existing monitoring system, for example, the Zapraszamy, right? Or sometimes they will call the API to do the virtual machine provisioning or something like that. So of course, we also can provide this kind of capability for you guys to do the migration. And secondly, for the infrastructure sustainability, of course, I think maybe 80 or 90% of the customer, they are using the 3-tier architecture. So that's why, of course, we can support that, right? Because sometimes the customer, they don't want to use the VMware vSAN, right? They propose to use the external storage, for example, the FCSAN, the iSCSI, and the NFS as well. And also, Sangfor do not lock any hardware vendor, for example, the HPE, Lenovo, Dell, the physical server. Sangfor are focusing on the software, right? So we can install our software on the third-party hardware vendor. So that's why we do not lock in any hardware vendor right now. And for the business scalability, of course, for some kind of high performance workload or for some CSP scenario, for example, the CSP, they are needing the multi-tenancy or the VPCs to support their cloud platform. We also can provide this kind of capability. It is similar to the VMware vCloud Director and the NSS as well. And for some workload, maybe customer, they are considering about the application modernization, right? They want to use some new technology, for example, the container. Of course, we can help them to utilize that, right? We can provide the Kubernetes management platform, help them to manage the Kubernetes cluster and the database as well. We can help to generate the database automatically to do the database backup and the database monitoring as well. Last but not least, of course, we can do the backup because I think the data protection, it will be the most important things for all of the partner and customer. So that's why we have the building backup capability and building DR capability. So our partner and customer, they don't need to invest any more backup solution, right? You guys can use it in our platform automatically, And for the sovereignty and security, of course, I think most of the European customer partner will realize that the data stored in the European, it is very important. So that's why our portfolio, it is fully on-premise deployment. So it is not a cloud actually, but we can help you guys to utilize your infrastructure and help you guys to build your maybe cloud infrastructure as well. On top of that, we can support the micro-segmentation and the L4 to L7 protection to prevent for some cyber attack, and some ransomware attack. And the NIS2 and the GDPR or the ISO compliance, I will mention it later. So I think we can go to deep dive. So if you guys have any question, maybe you can send it in the chat box. First of all, for the infrastructure sustainability, the 3-tier architecture, it is very widespread, right? Because I think maybe more than 80, 70 or 80% of the customer, they prefer to use the VMware vSphere and the storages as well. Also, Sangfor can provide that. Sangfor ASV, this is our hypervisor component, right? This is the, actually it is the essential component for the solution, right? Because we need to utilize the server first, then we can do the software-defined storage or the software-defined network as well. Yeah, this is our 3-tier architecture. So of course, we can support to connect with the storage nodes, even though the distributed storage or the legacy storage as well. And we can connect with the FCSAN, iSCSI, and NFS as well. Then for the production virtual machine can be deployed on our FC and the iSCSI storages. And also the object storage, that is only for the backup copy scenario, right? Because usually we need to follow the 321 data protection regulation. So that's why we want to do the backup copy to the object storage. For example, the Amazon S3 or the Wasabi, right? And our production VM can be deployed on the NFS storage. In our next version, the 6.12.0, right? It will be released next year. And here is the some technology that we optimize the Sangfor virtualization stack connect to the external storage, right? Here you can see, what kind of storage we can connect, right? FCS, SCSI, NFS, or the local, or even though the object storage. And we will utilize and support the multipath and the sub-health path isolation, right? For example, one of the storage paths is maybe have some issue, right? Or lose some package. Actually, we will isolate it to make sure that the high availability connect with the Sangfor virtualization stack and the storage as well. And here is the our component, the ASV, right? The hypervisor to replace the VMware vSphere. And also we can support you guys to deploy some critical workloads, right? That's why, because we can support the HA, right? And we can support the proactive HA. It is similar to the VMware proactive HA, and also the DIS as well. Yeah, this is the intelligence DIS to help you to scheduling the virtual machine across the different nodes. And for some hardware issue, the CPU memory, the external storage, sub-health detection, because we need to make sure that the architecture, it is scalability enough to have you to deploy some critical workload, some high performance workload, etc. And for the effective business security protection, of course, the ASEC or the SDLC, actually it is building in our platform. So that's why we need to secure your workload in this platform, right? And the next one is the no hardware locking, just I mentioned before, right? We have the compatibility chart on our official website. So you guys, if you have some third-party hardware or you want to reuse your existing server, actually you can use it, and then you can search it on this website. And I think afterwards I can share some materials in the chat box. Actually, it can help you to protect your previous investment, right? And what specific operating system that we can support. And also, we always update on this official website. And also we have some ecosystem collaboration, for example, some Red Hat, right? Because some kind of enterprise customer, they prefer to check whether to Sangfor support or compatible with the Red Hat or not. Yeah, we test it on the Red Hat, and then we get a certificate. And the second proposition is the seamless migration, right? We have the SCMT, we call it the Sangfor Cloud Migration Tools, to help you guys to do the migration from VMware to the Sangfor platform. And here is the tools, and then it can connect to the VMware vCenter through the VMware API, VMware vCenter API, and then transfer the data to the Sangfor HCI platform actually. So I mean the all procedure that is the automatically, and it can support the incremental data migration, because we want to minimize the downtime of the workload when you guys do the migration comes from VMware to the Sangfor platform. So in the latest stage, we will synchronize the latest incremental data from the VMware platform to the Sangfor. And also, when we do the migration, of course, we need to provide some kind of, I mean, not only the migration tools, but also the documentation or the best practice for you guys. So we have the documentation for you guys to do the migration and evaluation, right? Before the migration, of course, we need to know about or to leverage, right, the virus vendor, and sometimes we need to tailor it or minimize the risk of the mitigation, right? And do some recommendation during the migration stage. And after the migration, of course, our platform can automatically transfer the and verify the effectiveness of the virtual machines configuration, right? Because usually not only the data need to do the migration, but also the VLAN, right? Or some kind of specific configuration comes from the VMware. We will do it, migrate it automatically. So that's why we need to best practice and the migration assessment during these stages. And for some party, for example, the Zabbix or the SMP, right? Because we need to help you to do the monitoring, right? So currently, we also can support that. And we have some Zabbix templates to tell you how to connect with the Sangfor platform and the Zabbix as well to do the monitoring, to minimize some risk comes from the platform or the hardware. And thirdly, the business scalability, right? Because we need to consider about the platform. It is not only to deploy the virtual machine, but also maybe in the future we'll deploy some kind of container, the database, right? Or even though if you guys are the MSP or CSP, you guys will maybe provide some kind of self-services portal or the service catalog to the tenant as well, right? So we also can do that. So first of all, this is the virtualization stack compared with the VMware, right? If you guys are using the VMware vSphere and the external storage as well, right? Sangfor also can replace the VMware, and you can still use your existing storages. For example, the FC, the iSCSI, or the NFS as well, right? You don't need to replace all the infrastructure. You only need to replace the software. Even though your existing hardware, you can reuse that. And secondly, maybe some part of enterprise customer, they are using the virtualization and the vSAN as well, right? Maybe they don't have the external storage. Sangfor also can replace that, because we also have the ASAN, right? The distributed storage to replace the VMware vSAN. So we only need to migrate the data and the virtual machine to the Sangfor platform, right? So it can help you to utilize the infrastructure as well. Maybe in the coming futures, maybe you guys will use maybe not only the VMware vSAN, the vSphere, but also some software-defined network, right? Sangfor also have the ANET, the network virtualization, to help you to do some, for example, some VPC, right? Or some micro-segmentation, or create some sophisticated network insights in your infrastructure. We can help you guys to do that. And on top of that, some kind of maybe database platform, right? We can help you to generate the MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, or the PostgreSQL as well, right? And also we can support the high availability architecture and the container management platform. I think I can show you guys later. And for the high availability, of course, it is very important for all of the customer and partner, right? Because yeah, this is the essential capability for the infrastructure, especially for the user virtualization. So we have a lot of technique to support or to secure your virtualization platform. For example, not only the software detection, but also some hardware, right? The network monitoring and repair, the disk failure prediction and repair, and the CPU sub-health prediction, right? A lot of mechanism and the memory, right? Some network, right? A lot of mechanism to secure or to guarantee the high availability on your virtualization platform. And also we have the proactive reliability for the critical workload. We call it the HA 2.0. Actually, it is the proactive HA, and also VMware can support that. And for example, some low CPU microcode detection or some memory ECC, right? We will do the virtual machine migration first, because maybe if the hardware failure, usually we can detect it in advance. For example, the memory ECC, we will isolate the area of the memory and then migrate the workload to the healthy nodes, right? To prevent from some unpredictable disaster. For the performance, of course, the network, right? We can reach around 20, of course, more than 20 gigabytes of the network traffic per second, right? So maybe sometimes we have some critical workloads need the high performance of the network or the storage as well. We can provide a great performance for you guys to support about it. For the RDMA or the SPDK, we can help you to improve the high storage IOPS in this platform. So that's why sometimes maybe you don't need to purchase some full-fledged external storage. Usually it is more expensive, but maybe you guys can try the Sangfor storage virtualization, right? You only need to put the hard disk on the physical server, then you can create the virtual volume on this platform. It is very similar to the VMware vCenter. And then we can support the RDMA to accelerate the efficiency of the storage traffic. For some application modernization scenario, for example, if you want to deploy the container and the virtual machine as well in the same platform, of course, you guys can make it, right? You can deploy the virtual machine and you can deploy the Kubernetes cluster, right? And not only the master nodes and the workload, it is integrated, but also some ingress, right? It is integrated in this platform, and we can help you guys to utilize and provide more value on this part. And for the database, we can create the database. It is similar to the hyperscaler RDS, right? Generate the database automatically and then enhance the data protection and make sure that the database it is work well and efficiency, because we can help you guys to monitor the database as well and do the database backup. And for some data protection scenario, we can provide the building backup and disaster recovery, right? Because usually we need to do the backup. I think it is the mandatory for all of the partner and customer. So that's why we have this kind of feature in this platform. To do the building backup, you don't need to install any agent, right? And then you can manage or set up on our platform. And secondly, if you have multiple nodes, right, you can do the disaster recovery as well, right? Maybe for some public sector or for some critical manufacturer, you can do the disaster recovery. And this kind of capability also, it is building in our platform. You don't need to install some third-party agent, then you can utilize that. And for some specific scenario, maybe for some CSP or MSP, they are providing some cluster to the end user, right? And want to provide some kind of maybe DR as a service for the manufacturer or for the end user. Of course, you guys also can make it, right? And last but not least, maybe some key feature for the cloud service provider, right? The VPC network and some quotation management, right? And the self-service portal for the tenant. And here is the service catalog that we can provide in this platform and portfolio. For the sovereignty and security, yes, I think, all of the customer will ask about this topic, right? So how Sangfor can make it? We have the native virtualization architecture, right? The hypervisor and for the platform. So it is the multiple layer to help you to secure your virtualization platform, right? For the platform security, some kind of MFA, right? Some anti attack or some weak password detection. Of course, a lot of feature we can help you guys to make it. And for the platform side, we can have some component to secure your workload, right? For example, the firewall, IAG, the load balancer, or the zero trust. That's for the remote access. And for the ASEC, it is one of our security module on our platform. We can help you to detect some attack, right? Some event management, vulnerability management, something like that. And for the monitoring of the logs, it is secured and it is managed in our platform backend, but also you can manage that on our platform on the web UI. And here is some kind of complaints that we already get, right? Some ISO file, ISO certificate. Yeah, it is essential for the initial collaboration or to do the product or the company assessment, right? And the last feature or the last proposition of our product is we can simplify the operation. You don't need to use any script, then you can manage your platform. It's very easy for you guys to do the operation and management, right? And I think afterwards, I will share you guys the demo, right? The platform resources pool, right? How many nodes, how many storages, how many virtual machines which are deployed on our platform, right? Here is the overview. And for the cluster monitoring, right? CPU, memory, storages, that's for the infrastructure utilization. We will let you know, right, in the real time. And here is the virtual data store, right? The IOPS speed, right? The status and the capacity as well. It is very easy to know about the status of the storages. And for the virtual machine monitoring, of course, we also can provide this kind of panels for you to do the virtual machine monitor, right? The CPU, memory, storages, right? And do you do the snapshot or not? Do you do the backup, the disaster recovery policy or not, right? We can let you know in this panel. And a lot of metrics we can detect in this panel. And for the hardware monitoring, right? The CPU, memory, hard disk, something like that, right? It will be more easier to know about the status or the health issue in terms of the hardware. So here is what I want to mention about. But last but not least, I think what we can do. Of course, first of all, it is the data center consolidation. Maybe some kind of partner customer, they are still using the legacy server. Then of course we can replace that, because we also can not only do the VMware migration, but also the hardware. The physical server migration. We also can support that. And secondary is the VMware replacement, right? We all know that the VMware replacement, it is be a major scenario for the Sangfor to go to this market. And also, I mean, all of the a lot of vendor also can do it. But Sangfor, the Sangfor virtualization stack, it is developed since 2012, so it is around 15 years. So it is more mature in this market, and we also get some certified like Gartner or the Forest Wave, right? And I mean, thank you guys. And I think I will jump to the demo first, right? So let me share my screen. Wait a moment. Okay, hi guys, can you see my screen now? Okay, it's good. And I think I will take a few minutes to share the Sangfor platform. Okay. Let me refresh. And first of all, just like you said, just like you guys see it in the slides or in the presentation, right? You can see how many resources pool, how many nodes, storage, and the virtual machine as well, right? The utilization and the top utilization of the nodes and the virtual machines, right? And here is some specific period that you can monitor it, right? Or you can select, right? And on the left side, you can see the service catalog that we can provide to our partner and customer, right? I think maybe we can go to the resources pool first. Here is the resources pool, and we can see how many clusters in this platform, right? And actually, the Sangfor SCP, it is our management component. It can manage multiple cluster, virtualization cluster, and also the vCenter as well, because we can manage the VMware vCenter and to do the VMware migration to our platform. And you can see how many nodes in this cluster, three nodes, right? And then we can jump to the cluster overview, right? Utilization and the nodes, right? The specification of the nodes and the utilization, right? And also you can see the storage here, right? Storage overview, the virtual storage and the external storage as well, right? Which external storage it is connected to our platform. And also, if you want to add the external storage, actually you can add here FCI, SCSI, and the NFS as well. And for the virtual data store, right, it is similar to the VMware vCenter. Then we can jump to one of our virtual data store, right? And you can see which hard disk it is connected to this virtual data store. If one of the disks maybe have some error or have some bad latency, actually you can isolate and replace the hard disk as well. For the external storage, maybe we can go to one of the, for example, this one is iSCSI backup, right? We can support the multi-pass automatically. If you have multiple paths, we will show in this panel, right? And also, if you do not detect, then you can scan the paths, right? And if you need to expand the capacity, you can manage here. And for the VM overview, right, you can see a lot of VM. It is deployed on this platform. Maybe we can go to one of the virtual machine. Here is some configuration that we can show on this panel, right? the version, the guest OS, the IP address, host name, UUID, expiration time, right? Actually, a lot of config we will show here, right? And more details will show, for example, the CPU, right? Memory, the hard disk, right? The NIC, it means that the network, right? Lots of details, information you can get on this panel. And for the backup, schedule backup, right? You can go to the schedule backup, and here we can let you know how to do the backup here, and you don't need the third party, maybe the backup solution. You can see of the virtual machine, and then maybe you can choose maybe two of the virtual machine and add it. Hourly, daily, or weekly incremental backup. Right, here is the incremental backup. And also, yeah, you can set the date, the interval of the backup or the backup period, maybe daily, right? Because usually most of the workload will do the daily incremental backup. Maybe some kind of incremental, some kind of critical virtual machine. You guys can choose the hourly backup. And for some advanced feature, for example, the Quincy's guest file system, there's the VSS feature comes from the Windows. We also can support that. It can freeze the virtual machine, maybe just less than 1 second, then to do the snapshot and the backup as well. And for the backup intention or the backup health check, we just want to make sure that the backup data can be recovered during the backup procedure. And we can go next, right? If you have the backup repository, if you have the external storage, you also can reuse your external storage capacity to do the backup. Right here, you can choose that and manage the policy, backup policy name. Then you can set up the backup policy as well. And I mean, not only the schedule backup, right? The schedule backup, the minimum RPO, it is 1 hour. But for the CDP, the CDP policy, it will be 1 second. So it can minimize the RPO of the data protection policy. And for the backup copy policy, we also can copy the backup to other data store or to the cloud. I mean, to Wasabi or to the Amazon S3. And here you can see of the backup file. Right, of the backup file is here. Maybe, for example, we can go to one of the virtual machine. We can see where is the backup. You can select all for the period. Then you can see of the backup file is here. And also, if you want to do the recover, right, we can create a new virtual machine as well. Maybe you can do the data verification in terms of two virtual machine, the new one and the old one. And also you can overwrite. But usually we recommend you guys to do the new one. It will be better, right? And here is related to the virtual machine. And if you want to create the virtual machine, it's very easy. Usually there are around 2 ways, right? And first of all, you can create the image here, right? Image, it means that the template. You can create a virtual machine template, and then the template can help you guys to accelerate the virtual machine deployment, right? It's just a virtual machine copy, right? And secondly, you also can create a virtual machine by yourself as well. For example, first of all, of course, you can select or choose the image or the template as well, right? The ISO, it means that the standard ISO that you still need to do the virtual machine deployment by yourself. And for the building, I mean, that is the template. So you also can make it the full template or the quick deployment. It depends on your scenario that you need it. And secondly, right, if you do the virtual machine management or creation, right, the specification of the virtual machine you can manage is here. And maybe for some specific scenario, you need to do the CPU revision, right? Huge page memory for accelerating the high performance of your workload. You also can make it as well, right? And also the virtual CPU mode, right? The Ice Lake Haswell or the Ice Lake, something like that. And for some scenario, maybe you want to add the virtual GPU, right? Or pass through the GPU card to the virtual machine, right? It's easy for you guys to manage that. And for the storages, you can add the hard disk. Virtual disk is here, right? And the provisioning, the dynamic one, the pre-allocating one, or the think provisioning one, you can DIY by yourself. And for the network, right, you can connect to the specific virtual switches or the edges, right, or the VLAN, right? Because we also have the software-defined network, the network virtualization. So that's why we can make it here. And for some advanced, right, if you want to do some QoS on the network size, you can manage the QoS here, right? And some advanced, right? A lot of configuration you can manage, and it is very, very similar to the VMware. And for the network topology, it is the network virtualization, and also that is one of our benefit to our partner and customer. Right, you can see the topology of your software-defined network. It means that this is the internal network, right? Your virtualization platform network, and you can jack. I mean, if you need some virtual router, virtual switches, or any other components, you can jack it to this platform, right? You just jack it. Then if you need to use it, you just apply the changes, and you will enable this virtual router. And when you enable that, actually you can use, right? For example, if you want to setting this virtual router, right, you can add a lot of interface, right? Also the VLAN interface as well, and some static routes, NAT, the PBR, right? A lot of configuration you can do it in this part. And if you want to add the VLAN, you can add the VLAN here, right? The VLAN in the network, for example, right? The VLAN 105. And if you need to add more, right? The access mode of the virtual switches, and you can type it, right? And add the VLAN. Then you can add the VLAN here, and it can improve the efficiency of the network management, right? You don't need to configure any maybe physical switches in your infrastructure. You just need to manage them in this part. And for some VPC, I mean, for some CSP scenario, maybe for the VPC, right? This is one of our tenants. Then you can add it here. You can see a lot of subnet here. And if you want to maybe expose your workload or application to the internet, you just need to maybe use the EIP, right? The external IP. Then it can help you guys to mapping the workload through the internet directly. And for the disaster recovery, we also can make it, for example, if you have maybe two sites, right? The primary one and the secondary one. You can do the disaster recovery between these two sites. Usually, actually right now we have a lot of CSP in Europe, right? They are providing not only the infrastructure as a service, but also some add-on service or some great margin services, for example, the DI as a service or the backup as a service. So that's why we can go to this market by this solution, because it can help you guys to create more revenue or margin, right? And here's the status of the disaster recovery. Yeah, you can see two sides, right? Multiple. Actually, it is the cluster scope, right? And here is the DR policy. The DR policy, it can help you guys to manage that. And for the container, usually it depends on the scenario or the level of the cluster, right? You can manage the container here. You can create a container cluster, and you can provide actually the Kubernetes engines here. And usually you don't need to manage the cluster by yourself or install the cluster by yourself. You just click and follow the instruction. Then you can create the Kubernetes cluster here. And for some database scenario, also it is one of our components. And if you want to use that, and actually you can jump, comes from the service catalog, and you can create the database here, MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, something like that. MySQL, one primary, one replica, and you can go through. Oh, it depends on the license, right? But I think I can show maybe some kind of database that we have created in the past few weeks. Here is the service, the architecture of the database, and we also have the database monitoring. I mean, not only the CPU memory and storage as well, but also some specific database details, right? Details about the pool, the log weight, the temporary database table, some kind of monitoring metrics we can show in this panel, and also the database protection. So we can do the backup, we can do the database CDP. And for the database monitoring, you can modify the alert option here, right? Some specific database metrics, for example, the QPS, TPS, right? For the MySQL, it will be the InnoDB, right? And for Oracle, usually there's an ASM disk or the share pool for the database. We can let you know, and you can manage the metrics or the thresholds by yourself. So, I mean, there are some more details for the details configuration for the hypervisor. For example, the HA, right? The HA, the CPU failure, memory failure. Of course, we will do the HA, right? And maybe for some kind of scenario, actually, I think we can prevent it in advance to prevent for some unpredictable disaster recovery. For example, the low CPU microcode version, or some high temperature of the CPU, right? Or the memory ECC. We can do the migration. I mean, hot migration. It is the vMotion. We can vMotion the virtual machine to the other healthy node instead of the current one, right? The current unhealthy node. Usually, maybe in the coming maybe few weeks or few months, it will be a disaster, right? It will be failure. So I think we need to do the virtual machine migration first to improve the high availability of your architecture. And also here is some instruction that we can tell you how to do that, and what's the mechanism of our HA. And I think, yes, last but not least, if you guys have any questions, then I think you guys can send it in the chat box.
Jeżeli Państwo będą mieli jakieś pytania, to ja wcześniej właśnie wkleiłam adres mailowy do Tomka, też jest tam telefon, więc proszę śmiało pisać, dzwonić, zawsze jesteśmy do Państwa dyspozycji i odpowiemy. Ok, mamy jakieś pytanie. Guys, we have one question. Please answer. How do you position stack against Nutanix? Pan Radosław zadał pytanie.
It's a good question, right? And Nutanix, I think usually they are focusing on the HCI market, right? And they just support the external storage connection in this year, I think in April. But actually, for the external storage connection, we can support things 8 years ago or 9 years ago. So I think for this part, we have more experience on it. And secondly, we also have no vendor locking, right? We can support any other. I mean, most of the mainstream physical servers vendor, for example, Dell, HP, Lenovo, Xfusion, or even though some Cisco, right? Something like that. And thirdly, I think it is related to the cost, right? Sangfor right now can provide the cost-effective solution for you guys. And I think maybe this is our key proposition in this market. And I mean the 724 support, something like that. So that's how we Sangfor to against the Nutanix. Usually, the customer or partner, when they want to replace them, right? They need to find a good solution. And I mean, not only the technology, but also the cost needs to be considered about it. So that's why we can go to this market right now. Yes. And since last year, I mean, in 2024, Sangfor virtualization stack have already achieved around $400 million US. So also it is very mature in this market right now. Okay, yeah, thank you guys.
I dobiegliśmy do końca webinaru. Bardzo dziękuję przedstawicielom Sangfor za dawkę solidnej wiedzy, Państwu za uczestnictwo aktywne. Również drogą mailową prześlę do Państwa nagranie tego webinaru. Proszę się dzielić ze swoimi współpracownikami, partnerami, klientami. I myślę, że do zobaczenia następnym razem. Bardzo dziękujemy za poświęcony czas.